Hello everyone, how are you? This is going to be one of my first videos in English, but every week I'm going to reach out to you in English language because I get a lot of messages about making videos in English. And the topic that I want to cover is the importance of boundaries in life. So, honestly speaking, I was somebody who did not have boundaries in life. I was dealing with, as I may say, a boundaryless life. So I was a people pleaser. I would do anything and everything that people expected out of me. I did not care about myself enough. It was always about bothering and taking care of everyone else. I was just so lying low because I never understood that unless I didn't have boundaries, I would be able to live my life to the fullest. Growing up in a childhood where I suffered from a mother as well as a father wound, then becoming an orphan at a very young age, the only way I knew to survive was if anybody said anything, just say yes. Make sure nobody gets hurt. I would constantly walk on eggshells. And many years down the line of living that kind of life, I realized how much harm I was doing to myself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. I could never become my own person because everything I did was driven by the agenda of how people will react to it. What will people say? Or I hope I'm not hurting anybody. I hope I'm not really bringing any discomfort to anyone else. Who cares about how much discomfort Nalini has? Now, the question is that in my even personal relationships, the idea to constantly please others was absolutely robbing me of my self-worth. I was in a space where anything and everything was driven by what people want or what people need or how I need to show up in a certain situation. When, after doing my doctorate in human values, I started to think about what was happening in my life, I realized I needed training. I needed to understand deeper why did I behave the way I behaved. And that is when it dawned upon me that I need to study further. And I went back to school in Australia and I did my degree in counseling and social work. During the course of that journey, during the course of that 2.5 year program of masters in social work and counseling, I realized that I was sabotaging my own life. And in my 10 years of practice now, I have come to know a boundaryless life is sabotaging everybody's life, those who do not have any boundaries. We do not realize that our time, our money, our emotions, our house, our own personal space, our careers go for a jolly good ride, and we are left absolutely without any sense of accomplishment, without any sense of self-esteem, without any sense of control over our lives. Now, why do we do this? There are many reasons why we lead to creating a life which has no boundaries, and one of the major reasons is growing up, we have suffered from trauma. And by the way, if you're somebody who has suffered from trauma, you can send me a message on and make a comment, and I will reach out to you to do a one-on-one free clarity session with you. So it helps you to understand your life better. And second reason, which most often than not leads to a boundaryless life, is because we grew up in a house where yes was said to everything. The parents had anger management issues and we were not allowed to air our opinion. We were not allowed to say what we felt. Basically, if the father or the mother said something, we had to say yes to it. And in saying yes to that, it led to a lot of trauma in our lives. And we did not know that saying no is a healthy word because we were never allowed to say no. And when we say yes to everything, what I teach to my child when he has to say yes to is to suppress my own feelings. is to not acknowledge that I am feeling different than what my parent wants from me. So that leads to boundaryless living. Many a times it also happens that when we find work, if we do not have the sense of self-worth and I am enough feeling growing up, even then what happens is we start to have a boundaryless living. We will give our time to our friends. Our friends will call, oh, let's go for a party today, and we are absolutely bogged down with work. I'll say, not to disappoint, I will come, I will come, I will come. Later we'll regret, why did I go? Oh my God, I went to that party and I had so many errands to run, so many things to take care of. But we don't learn to say no. When we don't learn to say no, whether it's too much burden of work that was given to us in our office spaces, whether it's our friends and family who take us for granted, and more so when our body, physical body starts to react, that it screams for rest. It is shouting, take care of me. That is what leads to trauma, impatience, depression in our lives. So it is important to understand where the boundaryless living is coming. Maya Angelou says it beautifully. When you know better, you do better. What do you know about your childhood? How was your childhood? Did you feel appreciated? Did you feel that you grew up in a family which was kind to you, which understood you, which gave you space to be yourself? Or did you grow up in a family which really was battling? The parents were battling their own depression. The mother had her own issues. She was dealing with a mother-in-law, a father-in-law, a husband who didn't take care of her. What was the background or the childhood that you were dealing with? If there are patterns in that, until unless you heal those patterns, you can never live your life to the fullest. And you will pass on those behavioral traits to your own children. Your history will repeat itself. And when we do not heal that, when we do not manage our boundaries well, when we do not take the step forward in the right direction, our life completely falls apart. Do you know, in India, 1 in 3 people have a mental health issue. Why do they have a mental health issue? Because they are not addressing, there is lack of awareness. They are not even conscious of what they are doing because they don't reach out of help. They don't know that something is not right. My mood is always off. हमेशा ही मेरा मूड खराब रहता है. क्यों रहता है आपका मूड खराब? क्यों आपके इतने मूड स्विंग्स होते हैं? क्यों आपको बात बात पे रोना आता है? क्यों आपको लगता है कि कोई आपका ध्यान नहीं रखता? इन सब का कारण, the thing behind all of this is that you have not cared enough to know what is happening inside your heart. So, अगर आप अपनी बाउंड्रीज के दायरे को नहीं समझेंगे, if you do not understand the fact that your boundaries not being there is absolutely disrupting your life and being a biggest block in your happiness, then you cannot move forward. If this is something that speaks to you, if it's something that you feel, मेरा तो हर कोई फायदा उठाता है, everybody takes advantage of me, nobody understands where I'm coming from, then please reflect, think about it. And if you need help, reach out to me, send a comment to me. I will reach out and give you a link to have a one-on-one free clarity call with me so that you can start your journey to healing yourself. For today's video, this is it. I wanted to talk about boundaries, and we will continue this conversation in the following videos. Take care for now. Bye.